All right, so ready to ditch the spreadsheets and all those retirement calculators for a while?
Definitely.
Let's dive into something way more fun. You know, long-term travel before retirement.
Okay.
It's like ditching that whole like work, 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 and then travel mentality.
Right.
Because who even knows what kind of shape we'll be in by then?
You're telling me. Much rather be backpacking through like ancient ruins than,
Yeah,
battling arthritis on a cruise ship or something.
exactly. I was actually watching this YouTube video by Celeste Ramsey the other day,
Okay.
and she's all about making this kind of travel a reality.
Oh, cool.
She's actually out there living it right now,
Ugh.
working and traveling all around the world.
That's awesome.
And her focus is on this thing called slow travel.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, um, it basically means spending like a month or even longer in one place.
Gotcha.
Really like immersing yourself in the culture.
So it's like the opposite of that whole, whirlwind tour where you're just like hitting all the tourist spots and like taking a selfie and moving on.
Right, exactly. You're not just checking things off a list.
Yeah.
It's about actually experiencing a place like a local.
I feel like that's really gaining traction these days.
Yeah.
It makes sense though, It lets you connect with the place so much deeper
Yeah, definitely.
than just hitting those tourist traps. And, it can even be pretty budget friendly too, which is nice.
Yeah, that's actually what Celeste claims.
Mhm.
And another YouTuber I like, Nathaniel Drew,
Okay.
he kind of backs her up on that.
Oh, interesting.
They both say that slow travel can sometimes even be cheaper than taking like a bunch of shorter trips all throughout the year.
Wow. That's pretty counterintuitive.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But they both have some pretty interesting ideas about how to actually make money on the road while you're traveling.
Okay.
Celeste wasn't too keen on some of Drew's suggestions, though.
Like what?
Well, he suggested things like farm work and being an au pair.
I
And
guess.
Celeste is kind of like, yeah, no thanks.
I can see why she'd say that.
Right.
Trading your 9 to 5 for mucking out stalls might not be like
Yeah.
everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah. Not exactly a relaxing vacation vibe.
Right. And if you're looking for a truly like independent travel experience,
Yeah.
being responsible for somebody else's kids might not be the best fit.
Definitely not the most spontaneous way to see the world.
Right. Exactly.
But what I found super insightful was Celeste's take on the work travel options that actually do align with her lifestyle.
Okay. I'd love to hear about those.
So for anyone looking for like a big change, she suggests looking into student visas or foreign exchange programs.
Oh, those are great for like career development or even just like education while abroad.
Yeah.
You could learn a new language, get some international work experience, maybe even pursue a degree in something totally different.
I know.
And that cultural immersion you get from like actually living and studying in another country is just priceless.
It's like a built-in adventure.
Oh.
Now, if you've got a knack for teaching, Celeste suggests exploring teaching English as a second language.
Oh, Tessella.
Exactly.
The classic path for so many travelers.
Right. And there's a reason it's so popular. It's relatively accessible. There's always a high demand for English teachers all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be like a really rewarding experience to help others learn your language.
Absolutely.
And Celeste was quick to point out that you don't even have to be like a certified teacher to get started.
Really?
Yeah, there are tons of online TEFL and TESOL courses that can give you the basic qualifications
Oh, wow.
and even connect you with teaching opportunities abroad.
That's a good point. A lot of people think you need like a teaching degree, but that's often not the case, especially for teaching English as a foreign language.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Now, Celeste's personal favorite, and honestly mine too after hearing all about it, is the freelance or digital nomad route.
Oh, yeah, that one's definitely tempting.
Right. It sounds so freeing.
It does.
Working from your laptop on a beach in Bali one day, then exploring some bustling city in Europe the next.
The dream.
I know.
It's definitely becoming more and more popular, especially among like millennials and Gen Z.
Yeah, for sure.
But what I find interesting is that Celeste really emphasizes like the importance of being realistic about this path.
Yeah.
It's not all like Instagram-worthy moments and sipping cocktails by the pool.
Right.
It actually takes a lot of self-discipline, organization, and hustle to make it work.
And I imagine reliable Wi-Fi becomes your new best friend.
Oh, absolutely. You got to be strategic about where you choose to work from, especially if you're relying on video calls or uploading large files.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's all part of the adventure, though, right?
Totally. And speaking of work, I love Celeste's advice on approaching your current employer about remote work possibilities.
Oh, that's a good one.
With so many companies embracing remote work these days,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth exploring.
It is. And with the right approach, you might be surprised at how open your employer is to the idea.
Yeah, you never know.
But it's super important to come prepared.
Right.
Don't just spring it on them out of the blue.
Yeah.
You got to do your research, understand your company's policies, and be ready to address their concerns.
Right. Like, don't just tell them what you want. Show them how it can benefit them as well.
Exactly.
What if they're just not on board, though?
Well, that's where Celeste's resourcefulness comes in.
Okay.
She encourages people to look into those companies that are specifically seeking remote workers who are location independent.
Oh, so there's like a whole hidden job market out there.
Exactly. These companies are built on the idea of remote work, so they're usually way more open to their employees working from anywhere in the world.
That makes sense.
It's a win-win. You get to live your travel dreams, and they get a talented employee who's happy and productive.
Totally. Now, let's talk about like the practical side of things, because let's face it, accommodation can make or break your budget.
Oh, for sure.
Celeste teases some free and low-cost lodging options in her video and promises to dive deeper in future videos. I'm all ears. Give me all the budget-friendly tips. Like, what does she suggest?
Well, she mentions a few things like house sitting, volunteering at hostels in exchange for a free bed, and even utilizing home exchange platforms.
Okay.
They might not be luxurious, but they can definitely help stretch your travel budget and allow you to stay in a place longer.
It's like a whole new world of travel hacking.
Right.
What stands out to you about these alternative lodging options?
Well, what I find fascinating is how they not only save you money,
Yeah.
but also offer unique cultural experiences.
I imagine like house sitting in some charming Parisian apartment
Ooh la!
or swapping homes with a family in the Italian countryside.
It sounds so much more authentic than just staying in like a sterile hotel room.
Right. But speaking of authenticity, do you think slow travel always like delivers on that promise of a deeper cultural experience?
That's a really good point.
Like what if you end up in a tourist trap town even if you stay for a whole month?
Yeah, you could easily spend a month in a resort town and never venture beyond like that curated bubble.
So how do you avoid that? How do you make sure your slow travel experience is genuinely immersive?
Well, I think intentionality is key.
Okay.
It's about doing your research,
Right.
choosing destinations that actually align with your interests, and being open to like stepping outside your comfort zone a bit.
So it's not just about like being physically present in a place.
Right.
It's about actively engaging with the culture.
Exactly. It's about engaging with locals, trying new foods, learning a few basic phrases in the local language,
Yeah.
maybe even taking a cooking class or like a local craft workshop.
Ooh, those are good ideas.
It's about being an active participant in the culture, not just a passive observer.
That makes sense. And it kind of ties back to what we were talking about earlier with mindset. It's that willingness to embrace the unknown and be open to those new experiences that really makes slow travel so transformative.
Absolutely. And to be fair to Celeste, she does highlight the importance of choosing destinations that genuinely interest you. She emphasizes that slow travel isn't about just checking off a list of places,
Right.
but about connecting with places that really speak to your soul.
I love that idea. It's
Mm.
like finding those places that resonate with you on a deeper level.
Yeah, exactly.
And, something else that struck me about her video was her emphasis on planning but not over-planning.
Oh, that's so important.
Right.
She advocates for having a rough itinerary, but leaving room for spontaneity.
Yeah?
That balance is crucial, especially for long-term travel.
Definitely.
You don't want to be so rigidly scheduled that you miss out on like those unexpected opportunities.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to be so aimless that you end up wasting time and money.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between structure and flexibility.
Exactly. And I imagine that balance is even more important when you're working and traveling at the same time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
If you're freelancing or working remotely, you need to be super organized and disciplined with your time.
Right. You have to set boundaries and create a schedule that allows you to meet your work commitments, but still have time to actually explore and enjoy your surroundings.
And that probably takes some trial and error, right?
Oh, definitely. It's all about finding what works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Celeste mentions that she uses a project management tool to keep track of her deadlines and client communication.
Okay.
And she schedules like dedicated work blocks into her day.
Smart.
But she also emphasizes the importance of building in buffer time for like unexpected delays
Yeah.
or those spontaneous adventures that pop up.
Which brings us back to that need for reliable Wi-Fi.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just a luxury, it's a necessity for digital nomads.
I can imagine.
But it's also a good reminder that even with all the planning in the world,
Yeah.
things can and will go wrong.
True.
And that's where that adaptable mindset comes in handy.
So true.
Yeah.
You have to be able to roll with the punches and find creative solutions when challenges arise.
Exactly.
Speaking of challenges, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the financial aspect of long-term travel. It can be kind of daunting to think about funding a trip that lasts for months or even years.
Yeah, it's a valid concern.
Right.
But Celeste makes a really compelling argument that long-term travel doesn't have to be a luxury just for the wealthy.
Yeah.
She breaks down the costs and shows how, with careful planning and a willingness to be flexible, it can actually be surprisingly affordable.
She really emphasizes the power of slow travel
Yeah.
and reducing costs, right?
Exactly. By staying in one place for a while, you're not constantly paying for transportation and tourist attractions.
Makes sense.
And you can take advantage of local markets, cook your own meals,
Yeah.
even negotiate long-term discounts on accommodation.
Well, that's a good tip.
And you're more likely to find those hidden gems and free activities that often get overlooked by the average tourist.
So it's about being savvy and resourceful, but also about prioritizing experiences over material possessions.
Absolutely. It's a shift in mindset from, I need to buy this, to, I want to experience that.
And that shift in mindset can be so freeing, both financially and emotionally.
It really can. It allows you to break free from that consumerism trap and focus on what truly matters.
Yeah.
Connecting with new cultures, expanding your horizons, and creating memories that will last a lifetime.
And I think that's what makes long-term travel so appealing to so many people. It's not just a vacation, it's an investment in yourself and your personal growth.
It's about stepping outside your comfort zone, challenging your assumptions, and discovering new perspectives on the world and on yourself.
It's a journey of self-discovery, both literally and figuratively.
I like that.
You know, one of the biggest fears people have about long-term travel is leaving behind their careers and their financial stability. How does Celeste address that?
Well, she acknowledges that fear, for sure.
Okay.
And emphasizes that it's not about, like, throwing your career away.
Right.
But about finding ways to integrate travel into your life.
Yeah.
She highlights the rise of remote work and the growing number of companies that are embracing this whole location independence thing.
So it's about having that conversation with your current employer, even if you think they'll say no.
Yeah, the worst they can say is no.
Right.
And you might be surprised at how willing they are to accommodate your desire for flexibility.
That's true.
And if it's a hard no,
Yeah.
then she encourages exploring those companies that are specifically designed for remote work.
So it's about taking ownership of your career path and creating a lifestyle that actually aligns with your values and aspirations.
Exactly.
What I find inspiring is that Celeste doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk.
Right. She's out there living proof that it's possible
Yeah.
to create a life that blends work and travel seamlessly.
She's a living testament to the power of taking action, being resourceful, and never giving up on your dreams.
I love that.
And I think that's the most important takeaway from her video. If you truly want something, don't let fear or limiting beliefs hold you back.
So true.
Take that first step. Do your research, connect with others who are on a similar path, and just embrace the adventure.
Now let's turn the conversation over to you, our listeners. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this whole idea of long-term travel before retirement.
What excites you about it? What scares you? What questions do you have?
Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below.
Your insights might just inspire someone else to take that leap of faith. So we've talked a lot about Celeste's approach to long-term travel.
Yeah, tons of great advice.
What's resonating with you the most?
Yeah.
Any particular tip or insight that's kind of sticking with you?
You know, it's funny. I think what's really hit home for me is how Celeste just totally debunks that whole myth that long-term travel is only for, like, the super rich or the retired.
Right.
It's really about, like you were saying earlier, aligning your priorities and being smart with your resources.
Yeah, totally. She really makes it clear that it's more about mindset than money.
Exactly.
Like, it's about being willing to embrace a different way of life.
Yeah.
You know, one that prioritizes experiences over just accumulating stuff.
I love that.
But what about those folks who are hesitant to, like, leave behind a stable job?
Right.
Any advice from Celeste for them?
Well, she acknowledges that fear, which I think is so important.
Yeah.
She doesn't just say, like, quit your job and follow your dreams,
Right.
which can sound kind of irresponsible.
Yeah.
But instead, she gives really practical advice, like, start by talking to your current employer about remote work possibilities.
Yeah, and even if your current job isn't remote friendly,
Right.
there are tons of companies out there that are specifically looking for location-independent workers.
That's true. And Celeste really stresses the importance of doing your research, networking and building your skills to make yourself a really strong candidate.
Hmm.
She even suggests like using your current job as an opportunity to gain experience or certifications that would make you more marketable in the remote work world.
That's so smart. Use your current situation as a stepping stone.
Exactly.
So you're kind of already on your way.
Right.
Now I want to talk about accommodation,
Okay.
because that could be a huge expense.
For sure, especially for long-term travel.
Exactly.
So what were some of the budget-friendly options that stood out to you from Celeste's video?
Well, besides the obvious ones like hostels and budget hotels,
Yeah.
Celeste is a big fan of house sitting.
Oh, yeah.
It could be a fantastic way to experience a place like a local, basically free accommodation in exchange for taking care of someone's home and maybe their pets while they're away.
I've heard great things about house sitting.
Yeah. It seems like a win-win for everyone involved.
What other alternative lodging options did she mention?
She also talked about home exchange platforms, which are becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
You swap homes with someone in another country.
Oh, cool.
You save money on accommodations, and you get a more authentic cultural experience.
Yeah, plus you often get access to amenities that you wouldn't have in a hotel.
Right, like a kitchen laundry facilities, maybe even a backyard or a pool.
It's like having a home away from home.
Exactly.
Now, for those who are willing to like trade some of their time for accommodation.
Celeste also mentioned volunteering at hostels or working on organic farms through organizations like WWOF.
Yeah, worldwide opportunities on organic farms.
Exactly.
Those options might not be for everyone,
Right.
but they're definitely worth considering if you're on a tight budget and looking for a really unique cultural immersion.
Yeah. And a great way to meet like-minded people from all over the world.
Definitely.
So let's bring it back to our listeners.
All right.
For those inspired by Celeste's story and all this talk of long-term travel, what's like one piece of advice you'd give to someone just starting to explore this whole idea?
I'd say start small.
Okay.
You don't have to quit your job and book a one-way ticket tomorrow.
Right.
Take baby steps. Research destinations, explore those work travel options, talk to people who are already living that lifestyle, and start saving money.
I love that. Building momentum one step at a time.
Exactly.
And don't be afraid to ask for help or advice.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's a whole community of long-term travelers out there who are happy to share their knowledge and experience.
Absolutely. And most importantly, don't let fear hold you back.
So important.
It's totally natural to feel scared or uncertain when you're stepping outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But the greatest rewards often come from taking risks and embracing the unknown.
Love that. And, you know, as Celeste says, someday is not a day on the calendar.
So true.
If long-term travel is calling your name, make it happen.
The world is waiting.
And we're here to cheer you on every step of the way. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into all kinds of fascinating topics that will expand your horizons and ignite your curiosity.
Until next time, happy travels.